Last thing I want to talk about is dry manure application. If you're applying dry manure, it's a little more difficult to adjust your raked liquid manure. You have some more adjustments, a little more easier to understand. Dry manure people don't understand quite as well. You can see here on the left is a 20-ton spread, on the right it's a 40-ton spread. That's the difference between the two. It's a little bit difficult to say, well, it says, what's the difference there? That's a big difference as far as the manure management plan. Not necessarily a big difference as you look at it in the field. And this here, by the way, is on snow, which makes it a little easier to see than if it's not on snow. There's a John Deere 680 manure spreader, a common spreader out there with 6 tons of manure on it as it's heaped up, as we look at that. Whoops, I should back up on that. It's important with you using dry manure that you do calibrate. I'm not going to take you and spend time during this class talking about calibration. That's for the manure applicator training. But you do calibrate those spreaders. There are resources out there. I would say the Extension does have resources to show you how to calibrate your spreaders. In other words, when you calibrate, determine how much action is going on. Okay, there are ways of measuring it and determining it. And that's important as we look at our manure management plans and properly applying things. Keep in mind, if we don't do things properly, even if we're not regulated and mandated, the more abuse we have out there, the more regulations that come down the road. These manure management plans are in place, are required by law now because we've had manure spills, we've had fish kills. If we had never had fish kills, if we had never spread manure right next to somebody stinking up their house, we probably wouldn't have had these regulations. Okay, so we do have regulations because of not being considerate in the past. So do try to do your best management when you're applying manure. One last thing I do want to talk about is the master matrix. Not necessarily applies a lot to agronomy, but it does tie into manure management. If you are moving into a 500 animal unit operation, whether you're expanding or building a new one in Iowa, there is a master matrix that you have to fill out and submit to your county. There is a web page there. I'll provide the link in my course content also for that. You go to that web page that you can check out information about it. I do have an assignment for you to work through that. Like I've mentioned, we're building, or are already built, depending on when you're watching this video, a new robot dairy operation south of our main farm operation here on this picture. You can see where it's going to be located there. I want you to go through that master matrix. There is a PDF file that basically explains the criteria that go into it, and then an Excel file where you can just punch the numbers in. And you may have some of the questions you may have to guess on. I realize that. The overall purpose of this activity is for you to walk through that matrix so you can really have an appreciation for what is required, what it takes to pass that matrix. And get down to the bottom, you'll see whether or not you have a passing score for the building of the facility. One of the things to notice there is there are some houses that are close, and you can see on this aerial photograph there are some houses there. Actually, there's one more house out there now that's been built since this picture, but we'll use this picture with it. And again, if you have to make any guesses, that's okay. The purpose of the activity is just for you to understand the different criteria. Also, if you